Hi all, I'm Ollie, this is Simply Stitchy. Now I don't usually condone cheating, especially not on exams or on your significant other. It's bad, especially if it hurts people. But when it comes to quilting, I positively encourage it. Many people think that quilting is actually really difficult, especially when you're looking at a design, something along these lines. But in this video series, I'm going to show you that quilting is actually a lot simpler than it looks. Follow me in as I show you how to start cheating with quilting. Rule number one with cheating with quilting: get somebody else to design the pattern. Now this is a pattern featuring the Kitty the Cat fabrics by Susy Bee for Clothworks, and it's actually a free pattern. And what you'll find is when a designer puts together a collection of fabrics for quilting, is they'll usually design patterns to go with it to give you inspiration on what you can do with that particular range of fabrics. Now these patterns are usually free. I'll put a link in the description box to the Clothworks website where you can actually download this pattern and other free patterns that involve the Kitty the Cat fabrics by Susy Bee. This particular pattern is called Catwalk. Now with the pattern you obviously get a picture of what the finished quilt top will look like, and you get the fabric requirements and the measurements, and you'll also get hints, tips and directions on how to actually put the quilt together. Don't worry too much about that looking a bit complicated at the minute, because I'm going to walk you step by step as we put this quilt together. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, now would be a great time to do so, particularly if you want to follow along with the Quilt Sew Along, where I'll show you how to construct this particular quilt. Now, I know I've already said that you can download these for free from the Clothworks website, but I didn't do that. I actually got this pattern with cheating in quilting rule number 2. Buy yourself a quilt kit. In this particular quilt kit for Catwalk, using the Kitty the Cat fabrics by Susy Bee, you get a copy of the pattern, which is literally just a PDF, and you get the fabrics that you're going to need to make the quilt top. Now when I talk about quilt tops, what I'm actually referring to is the decorative surface of the quilt. So a quilt kit will usually give you all the fabric that you need to make the main design and any borders. And some quilt kits, this one is one of those, actually give you the binding fabric that you need to actually bind your quilt sandwich together. The one thing that I need to point out at this particular point is, if you decide to go down the quilt kit route with your cheating with quilting, make sure you read what you're actually getting with your quilt kit. Some kits will have the binding fabric in, some kits will literally just have the design fabric included. So make sure you know at the outset what it is that you're actually getting with the quilt kit. Now with this particular quilt kit, if I open it up for a minute, you get, put that over there, the fabrics that you need to do the binding and the borders, and it's all quilt shop quality cotton. Now you can buy quilting cotton from a number of places. You can get it from your local big box store, you can get it from a designated quilting shop, and what quilt shop quality cotton means is it's 100% cotton and it's of a decent quality. It usually retails for slightly more than it would do if you bought it from a big box store, because the big box store tends to supply cheaper cotton fabrics. They're not quite as high quality. That doesn't mean you can't use them, they're perfectly fine. But what you'll find with quilt kits in particular is, because they're coming from a quilting outlet, it will be quilt shop quality cotton. So it's going to be a little bit more durable, a little bit more long lasting, and it's likely to be slightly more colour fast, which is good news if your quilt kit has as many colours in it as this one. Cheating with quilting, rule number 3. Get yourself a quilt kit that includes a middle panel, and therein lies a very big secret in quilting. If you go for a quilt that's got a panel in it, most of your quilt is already pre-printed onto the fabric. Quilting doesn't have to be hard. Now, I'll put a link in the description box below to where you can get the quilting kit for this particular quilt pattern, Catwalk, using Kitty the Cat Fabrics by Susy Bee for Clothworks. But you don't have to buy a quilt kit. You can actually buy all the materials that come in the quilt kit as separate pieces of fabric. You can buy this as a separate piece of fabric, and you don't even have to buy the coordinating fabrics from the collection. You can actually use your own fabrics. The great thing about designer fabric like this one is on the selvedge, which is just the edge of the fabric, you'll see a row of little dots, and those dots show the different colours that are within the quilt top. So as long as you follow the colour code down the side of the quilt top, even if you don't stick to this particular collection of fabrics, you can get fabrics to match just by following the dots, which means you can actually coordinate, oh it's upside down, so sorry, you can coordinate this quilt panel with fabric that you may already have in your stash. Now this quilt kit gives you all the fabrics that you need to make all these little squares going down the sides. You've got this border in white going down the side, and you've got backing fabric as well as the centre panel. What it doesn't give you is, if you have a look down at this bottom corner where it's turned over, there's some more fabric at the back. That's the backing fabric for the quilt, and you do have to purchase that separately. Now, as I've said, if you use the dots going down the side of your quilt panel, you'll be able to coordinate it with any colour you like. You don't have to go with the fabric that's part of the collection. But what I've done is I have gone for another fabric that's part of the collection. I've gone for the fabric that is actually shown in that bottom corner, and it's these little hearts with bees. I picked this particular quilt design for 2 reasons. The first reason is because it's an incredibly deceptively easy quilt to put together. It's a perfect first project for those of you who you've worked your way through pot holders and little projects and you want to make your first full-sized quilt. This one actually measures 38 by 48, so it is going to be quite a sizable piece of work when it's finished. But the second reason why I picked this one is because I am an incredible big softie when it comes to anything that's slightly cute. And if you take a really good look at this pattern there in the top corner, that cat right there, that's just our biscuit to a T. So if you want to have a go at cheating with quilting and make yourself a really complicated looking quilt, join me in this video series. Subscribe, click that little bell so that YouTube will let you know when I upload the next video in the series, and join me on the sew along as we put together this little quilt. This video isn't sponsored by anyone, and there's no obligation to buy any of the products that I've mentioned in this video. The links are for information purposes only. Use them, don't use them, it's completely up to you. You don't even have to join in on sew along with me. You can just sit there and watch me making a quilt. The aim of this video series is for me to show you how you can cheat at quilting and get a usable, difficult looking project at the end of it, all with knowing the secret of just how easy quilting can be. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and why not consider checking out some of the other videos on my channel using these links coming up any minute now, or the ones that I've got in the description box below. Whichever video you go and check out next, I hope to see you back here for the next one, particularly if you're following along with the quilt sew along. In the meantime, whatever you're sewing, whatever you're sewing it with. Embrace your creativity and have fun. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.